right. So you're getting ready for a fundraising manager interview.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really exciting. We're going to take a deep dive today into some interview questions that you might be asked.
Oh, yeah.
We'll sprinkle in some career insights that we've learned from some of our resources.
Sounds great.
And we'll also show you how RoleCatcher can be really helpful when you're preparing.
I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it. So first things first, let's just kind of set the stage. What exactly does a fundraising manager do?
Yeah, so fundraising managers are like the financial strategists behind nonprofits.
Okay.
They're the ones bringing in all the revenue
Gotcha.
through a bunch of different things. Corporate partnerships, direct mail campaigns,
Okay.
even like those fancy fundraising galas you see.
Right.
So it's not just like asking for money, right? It's
Right.
about building those relationships with donors,
Yeah.
managing resources really effectively, and making sure that the organization can really make a difference with that money.
Okay, so it's a lot more than just kind of like shaking the donation bucket on the street corner.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for someone who is trying to land one of these roles,
Yep.
what are some of the key skills that would really make their resume stand out?
So for sure, you want to highlight your core communication skills because you're going to be doing a lot of persuading. So things like negotiation, relationship building, being able to articulate an organization's vision and mission really well.
Right.
Those are all crucial. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that the industry is becoming so data-driven these days. So if you can demonstrate that you understand donor trends, that you're able to analyze data, that's a huge advantage.
So you got to be able to persuade people with your heart and your head.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's dive into some of those interview questions then.
Yes, let's do it.
Because we want you to walk into that interview feeling really prepared and ready to impress them. Okay, so first one, this one seems pretty straightforward, but I think there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Okay.
Tell me about your experience in fundraising.
Yeah, so this is your time to really shine, to highlight those concrete wins that you've had in the past. Don't just list out your job duties. Like, I was in charge of donor communications.
Right.
You want to quantify those achievements. Did you exceed a fundraising goal? By what percentage did you manage to land a major corporate sponsorship?
Oh, okay.
Like, those are the details that are really going to stick in their minds.
So instead of saying, I was in charge of donor communications, you'd say something like, I revamped our donor communication strategy, and we saw a 15% increase in recurring donations. Or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to really paint a vivid picture with your experience.
Right.
And also be prepared for a follow-up question here. Like, they might ask, what's the most creative fundraising initiative you've been a part of?
Oh.
So that's where you can really showcase your innovative side.
Right. And show that you can think outside the box.
Okay, cool. All right, next question. This one's a good one. How do you prioritize fundraising initiatives? Because I imagine in this role, there's just
so much going on.
Yeah, like a million different things you could be focusing on. So how do you decide?
Right. Yeah, and you have limited resources, limited time. So you really have to be strategic.
Yeah.
I think the key here is to think about ROI.
Okay.
Return on investment. Like, which initiatives are going to bring in the most money for the least amount of effort?
Okay.
But it's not just about the money either.
Right.
You also have to think about how well an initiative aligns with the organization's overall mission.
Right.
Like, maybe a small community-focused event might resonate more with their values than, like, a big high-profile gala that's going to cost a ton of money.
Right.
So show them that you're thinking strategically about the big picture.
Okay, and I bet you this leads perfectly into a potential follow-up question.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Which is, how do you balance those short-term fundraising needs with long-term strategic planning?
That's the big question.
Right, because you got to do both.
You got to do both. It's all about sustainability.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to just focus on the immediate need. You want to build something that's going to last.
Sure.
So think about how you've approached that in the past and be ready to give some concrete examples.
Gotcha. Okay. Next question. How do you build relationships with donors?
Oh, this one's all about the human touch. Like, donors are people, too. They want to feel like they're part of something meaningful.
Yeah.
So think about how you go beyond those transactional interactions.
Okay.
How do you make donors feel valued?
Sure.
How do you make them feel like they're part of the organization's journey?
So, like, instead of just sending out a generic thank you email after someone donates,
Yeah.
maybe you would send them, like, a personal story or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Share some impact stories that really show them how their contribution is making a difference.
Okay.
You're demonstrating that you understand donor stewardship.
Okay.
It's not just about getting that initial donation.
Right.
It's about nurturing that relationship over time.
Okay.
So be prepared to share a specific example
Hmm?
of a successful donor relationship that you've built.
Okay. And you know what? This is where RoleCatcher can really come in handy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because you can use RoleCatcher to actually analyze a specific job description.
All right.
And then it'll help you tailor your answers to really highlight the skills and experience that that organization is looking for.
It's like having an AI co-pilot
Right.
helping you craft the perfect response.
That's amazing. It's like having a personalized interview coach in your pocket.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. All right, let's tackle another question here. Can you describe a time you faced a fundraising challenge and how you overcame it?
Ooh, everyone faces challenges.
Right.
That's part of the job.
Yeah, they want to see
I want to know
how you handle it.
exactly how do you think on your feet? How do you solve problems? So choose a specific challenge
Okay.
that really showcases your problem-solving skills.
Right.
Maybe you had to adapt a campaign strategy because of like unforeseen circumstances, or maybe you had to navigate a particularly difficult donor situation.
Okay.
But whatever it is, walk them through your thought process,
Yeah.
the actions you took, and the positive outcome.
Okay, so it's about showing them that you can think on your feet and find solutions,
Yes.
even when things get tough.
And don't be afraid to mention what you learned from that experience.
Okay.
Even if things didn't go perfectly.
Right.
It shows that you're always striving to improve.
Okay, good tip. All right. How do you measure the success of a fundraising campaign?
Okay, so this is a great question.
Okay.
Because it's not just about hitting a dollar amount.
Right, right.
It's about so much more than that.
Yeah.
So you want to demonstrate a holistic understanding of success. Like, of course, financial metrics are important.
Right.
You know, did you reach your fundraising goal?
Yeah.
But there's also things like donor acquisition,
Right.
retention rates,
Mm-hmm.
return on investment,
Right.
and then the overall impact of the funds raised.
Yeah.
So be prepared to discuss specific metrics that you've used in the past
Okay.
and how you analyze data
Right.
to evaluate a campaign's effectiveness.
So it's about showing them that you're data-driven
Exactly.
and that you really understand the nuances of what makes a campaign truly successful.
Yes. And don't forget the qualitative side, too.
Okay.
Things like brand awareness,
Uh-huh.
donor engagement,
Okay.
and community impact.
Yeah.
Those can be just as important as the numbers.
Okay, great point. You know, speaking of which, I was reading through the career guide,
Oh, yeah.
and there was something in there that really stuck with me.
Okay.
It talked about the importance of continuous learning in this field.
Oh, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on
I
that?
think it's crucial.
Okay.
Because the fundraising landscape is constantly changing.
Right.
There's always new technologies, new strategies, new trends emerging.
Okay.
So you have to stay updated if you want to be successful.
So how do you do that?
Well, there's a lot of different ways.
Okay.
You can pursue certifications,
Mhm.
like the CFRE,
Okay.
which demonstrates that you're really dedicated to professional development,
sir.
attend industry conferences,
Yeah.
workshops,
Mhm.
webinars,
Right.
read publications,
Development.
join online communities.
Mhm.
There's really a ton of resources out there.
So it's not a field where you can just get comfortable and be like, okay, I've learned it all.
No, you got to stay on top of things.
You got to keep learning.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. How do you stay up to date on fundraising trends and best practices?
Okay, so this is your chance to showcase how proactive you are
Okay.
about professional development.
Yeah.
So mention specific things
Right.
like conferences you've attended, workshops, webinars, publications you read,
Right.
online communities you're a part of.
Okay.
It shows them that you're really invested in continuous learning and growth.
And this is where I think RoleCatcher can come in handy,
Oh, for sure.
because RoleCatcher can actually tell you which skills
Yes,
and certifications are most in demand for specific roles.
absolutely.
So that's really helpful.
Like having a crystal ball for your career. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
How do you collaborate with other departments to support fundraising efforts?
Okay, so this is important
Okay.
because fundraising doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Right.
You need to work with other departments like
Yeah.
marketing, communications, program, staff.
Okay.
So they want to see that you understand how fundraising fits into the bigger picture.
Okay.
and that you're a team player
Yeah.
who can build strong relationships across departments.
So it's not just about being like a fundraising expert.
Right.
It's about being a leader who can work with people.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when you're answering this question, think about specific examples where you've partnered with other teams
Okay.
to achieve fundraising success.
All right.
Maybe you worked with the marketing team
Yeah.
to develop a compelling campaign narrative.
Okay.
Or you collaborated with program staff to gather impact stories for your donor communications.
Okay, great examples. Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult fundraising decision?
Oh, they like these tough questions.
Right. They want to see.
They want to see how you handle pressure.
Yeah, how you handle those tough calls.
Exactly. So choose a situation
Okay.
where you had to really weigh competing priorities, consider the ethical implications,
Right.
and ultimately make a decision that might not have been universally popular.
Right, right.
But walk them through your decision-making process.
Okay.
The factors you considered, how you communicated that decision to stakeholders.
So it's not about always making like the right decision.
Right.
It's about showing them that you can...
You can handle these complex situations with integrity and with a commitment to doing what's best for the organization.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
Should we maybe pick this back up in part 2?
Yeah, let's take a break and come back to it.
Sounds good to me. All right, so we'll be back in just a minute with more interview questions and more tips for really nailing that fundraising manager interview.
Stay tuned. Okay, so let's jump back into these interview questions.
All right, sounds good. Let's see. How do you train and develop fundraising staff?
Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, okay.
This is about leadership.
Okay.
They want to see how you can build a strong team.
Yeah, how you can motivate people to excel.
Exactly. So think about specific examples of how you've coached team members, provided opportunities for professional development,
Okay.
or even created a culture of continuous learning within your team.
So you might talk about how you implemented a mentorship program or offered workshops on new fundraising techniques.
Yeah, those are great examples.
Okay.
And you could even talk about encouraging your team to attend industry conferences.
Right, right.
And don't forget to mention how you tailor your approach to different learning styles.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because not everyone learns the same way.
Right. Some people are more hands-on. Some people need a little bit more freedom.
You got to figure out what works best for each person.
Right. And this actually ties back to something we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
About the importance of emotional intelligence in fundraising.
Yes, absolutely.
Being able to understand and respond to the individual needs of your team members.
It's crucial for creating a supportive and productive environment.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's not just about the numbers. It's about building a team that feels valued.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So next question. This one seems like it requires kind of a strategic mindset. How do you balance short-term fundraising goals with long-term strategic planning?
Ah, yes, the classic balancing act.
Right, you got to be able to do both.
You do, because you need to generate revenue now,
Yeah.
but you also need to be thinking about the future.
Right, how to build the foundation that will last.
Exactly. So they want to see that you can think beyond those immediate needs and create a roadmap for long-term success.
Okay, so think about times when you've had to make those tough decisions.
Yes.
Prioritize resources. Maybe adjust your strategies to make sure that you're meeting both those short-term and long-term goals.
And this is another area where RoleCatcher can really come in handy.
Oh, how so?
Well, RoleCatcher can actually analyze the organization's mission statement,
Wow.
their annual reports, even their social media presence,
Okay.
to give you a really deep understanding of their long-term goals.
So you can use that information to...
Tailor your answer and show them that you've done your research.
Oh, that's so smart.
And that you're thinking strategically about how you can help them achieve those goals.
It's like having a secret weapon.
It kind of is.
They help you connect with them on a deeper level.
And remember, the more you understand their values, the better equipped you'll be to articulate how your skills and experience can help them.
Okay, wow. This is great.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground on these interview questions.
We have.
Before we wrap up, are there any other kind of general tips or insights that you think would be helpful?
You know, one thing I always emphasize
Okay.
is the power of storytelling.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because fundraising is ultimately about connecting with people
Right.
on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And stories are such a powerful way to do that.
So instead of just listing off a bunch of accomplishments,
Right.
you should try to weave them into a story.
Exactly.
Right.
Find ways to make those accomplishments come alive.
Well,
And be prepared to share stories of the organizations you've worked with.
oh, that's a great idea.
Let them see the real-world impact
Mm.
that your fundraising efforts have made.
It's about reminding them that it's not just about the money.
Right.
It's about making a difference in the world.
Absolutely.
I love that. We've covered so much in this deep dive.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
I know there's so much more we could talk about.
There is, but hopefully we've given our listener a solid foundation.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so to our listener out there who's prepping for that fundraising manager interview,
Yes, good luck.
remember to be confident, be authentic, and be prepared to tell your story.
And don't forget about RoleCatcher.
Yes.
Those AI-powered tools can really make a difference.
For sure. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break,
Okay.
and then we'll be back for part 3, where we'll wrap up with some final thoughts and words of encouragement. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into fundraising manager interview prep.
Awesome.
We've talked about a lot about specific interview questions,
Yeah.
some broader career insights, and even how those AI tools from RoleCatcher can really help you prepare.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, it is. But, even with all the prep in the world, interviews can still be a little bit nerve-wracking.
Oh, for sure.
So what are some of your best tips for just staying calm and collected under pressure?
Well, I always tell people to remember that the interview is a two-way street. It's
Right.
not just them evaluating you.
Right.
You're also evaluating them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is this a place where I want to work? Is this a good cultural fit?
Right.
So I think when you think about it that way, it takes some of the pressure off.
Yeah, it does kind of reframe things a little bit.
It does. And also, don't be afraid to pause
Okay.
before you answer a question.
Yeah.
Take a moment to collect your thoughts.
Right.
It's better to do that than to just rush into a response that you might regret later.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other tips for just making a really great first impression?
Well, for sure, be mindful of your body language.
Okay.
Make eye contact.
Yeah.
Sit up straight.
Mm.
Project an air of confidence and enthusiasm. And don't forget to smile.
Right. Right. Smiling is so
It
important.
makes a big difference.
Yeah, and it reminds me of something we haven't really touched on yet,
What's that?
which is just the importance of being authentic
Oh, yeah.
in the interview.
Absolutely.
Yes, you want to present your best self,
Mm-hmm.
but don't try to be someone you're not.
Right, because they can see through that.
Yeah, I think so too.
So just relax, be yourself,
Mm,
and let your genuine personality shine through.
I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about striking that balance
It is.
between showcasing your strengths, but also letting your true self come out.
And I think hiring managers are looking for that.
Yeah.
They're looking for someone who's not only competent, but also a good cultural fit.
Mm-hmm. And this is another place where I think RoleCatcher can be helpful,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
because RoleCatcher can actually analyze a company's culture
Right.
based on their online presence,
Mm-hmm.
employee reviews, their social media activity.
So you can get a sense of their values,
Yeah.
their work environment, their overall vibe.
And then tailor your approach accordingly.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. It's like having a secret decoder ring for the hiring process.
It kind of is. And, the more you align with their culture,
Mm-hmm.
the more likely you are to actually enjoy working there.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Huh?
Okay, so we've talked about so much.
We have.
If there was just one thing you wanted our listener to take away from all of this, what would it be?
I would say believe in yourself.
Okay.
You've got this. You have the skills, the experience,
Yeah.
and the passion to make a real difference in this field.
Mhm.
So let that confidence shine through in your interview.
I love that. We've given our listeners so much to think about.
I hope so.
And I know they're going to walk into that interview feeling so much more prepared and ready to succeed.
That's the goal. Remember, preparation is key.
Yeah.
But don't let nerves get the best of you. Relax, be yourself,
Yeah.
and let your passion for fundraising shine through.
Well said. To our listener who's about to embark on this exciting journey, we're cheering you on.
Yes, good luck.
Go out there and make us proud. And to all of our listeners,
Thanks for joining us.
thank you for tuning in to The Deep Dive. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful.
Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next one.
Yes, we'll be back soon with a whole new topic and hopefully some more hidden gems of knowledge to help you in your career journey.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.